The day after my sister's baby shower, I stood alone in the marble entryway of Grandma Eleanor's Cherry Creek condo. The keys she'd entrusted to me still warm in my palm. Sunlight poured through the floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Denver's skyline, but the peace shattered when car doors slammed outside and voices rose in the hallway. My father's booming commands cut through everything. They had arrived exactly as threatened, moving truck idling at the curb, fake documents in hand. Neighbors gathered like spectators at a public execution. I'm Sophia Bennett, 32, a corporate attorney at a respected Denver firm. 24 hours earlier, the baby shower had been all pastel balloons and forced smiles.
Now,
Reality crashed in. My phone had rung at dawn.
Dad, didn't waste words.
Sophia, we're taking possession of Mother's condo today. Hand over the keys. The family decided it belongs with your mother and me. Family decision? As if they'd held a meeting while I arranged flowers for Grandma Eleanor's funeral 3 days prior. I set my coffee down, heart pounding but voice steady.
Dad.
Her body isn't even in the ground. His laugh was cold. Exactly why we move fast. That place is worth almost $1 million. It's only right it goes to her son. Mom chimed in from the background, Madison agreeing loudly about needing her share for the baby. Madison, my 28-year-old sister, who'd barely visited Grandma in years except when gifts or money were involved. They expected me to fold. They always had. But Grandma Eleanor had seen their patterns long before I did. From age 7, when my parents dropped me off with a backpack and a vague promise to return soon, I found real stability here. Those months stretched into years of summers and weekends while they chased failed startups, import schemes from Asia, food trucks that bled cash, wellness products that never sold. Grandma taught me to bake her signature cherry pie on that granite island, reviewed every report card, walked me to school, and reminded me daily that knowledge was the one thing no one could steal. My parents returned sporadically, full of grand plans and outstretched hands. Madison learned the script perfectly, dramatic texts about student loans, surprise visits with flashy but meaningless gifts. Grandma noticed everything, how Dad eyed her art collection, how Mom admired jewelry a little too eagerly, how Madison staged social media photos claiming deep family bonds she never lived. By the time Grandma's health declined 2 years ago, I had adjusted my schedule to drive her to every appointment, organize her medications, sit through physical therapy. Madison sent a single card. My parents called mainly to probe about estate plans. They're circling, Grandma whispered one afternoon, her sharp mind still cutting through the fog of age. She had already begun quietly preparing. We met with estate attorney Thomas Whitaker, one of Colorado's top experts. Together, we built an irrevocable trust transferring the condo and her investment accounts solely to me as beneficiary and trustee. Video recorded signing. Multiple witnesses, including a retired judge and her physician confirming capacity. Medical records. Notarization stacked for ironclad protection. A no-contest clause ensured challengers forfeited even the modest $5,000 bequests left in her will. And tucked away, Grandma prepared a sealed envelope of insurance, evidence of Dad's questionable unreported transactions and Madison's past scholarship irregularities. She explained it to me privately after the papers were signed. Love isn't blood, Sophia. It's showing up on ordinary Tuesdays. It's remembering my favorite tea, holding my hand through doctor visits, choosing presence over convenience. Your parents loved the idea of me, the safety net. You loved the cranky old woman who argued about pills and needed help with stairs. That trust remained our secret for 2 years while the family continued their performances. Oblivious.
Now,
as noon approached, I arranged the dining table, original trust documents, laptop cued to the signing video, competency records, bank statements, tracing years of their requests, and the sealed envelope. New security cameras rolled silently. Neighbors' Mrs. Alvarez and the Thompsons had agreed to witness. My colleague David Chen waited on video call. The doorbell rang sharply. I opened it to their invasion. Dad directing movers toward artwork. Mom clutching printed papers. Madison pregnant and tearful. Her husband Tom measuring rooms with his eyes. Even Aunt Carol for support. Neighbors watched from doorways. Start packing, Dad ordered the movers. David's calm voice cut in from the laptop. I'm David Chen, representing Sophia Bennett, legal owner and trustee of this property per Eleanor Bennett's irrevocable trust established 2 years ago. Removing anything constitutes theft. Dad's face twisted.
Fake.
We have the real will, everything to me. Her only son. He brandished freshly printed pages dated years earlier. Signatures forged with suspicious notary details. I stayed composed. Interesting timing. Grandma's desk was clear days ago. No such document existed. The room tensed as evidence unfolded. The movers hesitated, sensing the shift. Dad's lawyer, a nervous man named Harlan, arrived sweating and began reviewing the trust packet David handed over. His expression changed quickly. This appears properly executed. Multiple witnesses.
Video.
Capacity certification. Mom's voice rose. She manipulated an elderly woman. David countered smoothly. Proving undue influence would require evidence. Something difficult when Sophia never requested funds while the rest of you repeatedly sought loans and gifts. I opened the folder of patterns, years of checks written after visits filled with property value hints and family emergency stories. Grandma documented everything. She saw how Dad photographed documents uninvited, how Madison built a family memories social account only when inheritance loomed. Madison sobbed theatrically. For the baby, Sophia. Don't you care about your niece or nephew? I met her eyes. Grandma knew about the pregnancy. The timing after her diagnosis was convenient. And claiming someone else's child on scholarship forms years ago? That could interest authorities if this escalates. Silence thickened. Dad lunged verbally. You turned her against us. Mrs. Alvarez stepped forward. We watched Eleanor for decades. You visited 4 times last year, each time leaving with money. Sophia came 3 times weekly, handled appointments, cooked meals, listened. The other neighbors nodded. Phones recording discreetly. Harlan pulled Dad aside. Mr.
Bennett.
Pursuing this risks felony charges for submitting forged documents. The notary used lost their license years ago. Witnesses deny knowing Eleanor. Dad's face drained of color. I continued evenly. Grandma left you and Madison $5,000 each. Unless the trust is contested, then nothing.
There's also this.
I held up copies from the envelope without revealing full details. Unreported cash deals. Scholarship discrepancies. Even Mom's old disability claim irregularities. These stay private if you accept the bequests and walk away. Otherwise, they become court exhibits. The weight settled.
Tom,
Madison's husband, muttered about rental conversion plans he'd already sketched. Madison turned on him in fury. The movers announced they were leaving. This wasn't the simple job promised. Aunt Carol edged toward the exit. Through the window, building security hovered. Alerted earlier. David reminded everyone the cameras captured every word. Dad made one last stand. No court will side with you over her own son. But James Whitaker's voice joined via video. Judges routinely see neglectful children demanding inheritance after years of absence. Forgery adds criminal exposure, up to 5 years. Harlan promptly withdrew representation and fled. The family imploded visibly, whispered arguments, mascara-streaked cheeks, defeated postures. Get out, I said finally, opening the door wide. This is my home now. Trespass further, and police will be called. They filed out, humiliated before neighbors, and hired help. Mrs. Alvarez squeezed my hand. Eleanor would be proud. She always said you had the spine she wished her son had developed. Alone again, I wandered the rooms filled with memories, her vanity where she braided my hair, the fireplace where she confessed regrets about spoiling Dad, the kitchen island where lessons about roots and resilience took hold. The trust wasn't punishment, it was preservation. This condo represented stability she built after Grandpa's death. Holidays hosted for 40 years, the place she raised me when my parents couldn't. Selling or keeping it would honor what mattered, earned loyalty over entitled blood. That evening, after the dust settled, I opened Grandma's safe and found her final letter addressed to me, for Sophia. After the wolves bare their teeth. Tears came as I read her words about love as action, presence over performance, and how blood alone never guarantees family. She urged me to live without guilt, boundaries intact, true legacy and integrity. 3 days later, Harlan called confirming Dad and Madison would accept the bequests without contest. The forged will risk serious legal trouble. The notary was already under investigation. Weeks passed. I upgraded security, cooked Grandma's recipes, sat reading her books. Neighbors shared stories of her quiet generosities, helping with groceries, watching kids. The condo felt alive with chosen family, not forced obligation. Madison sent a bitter text claiming I destroyed the family. I replied that I simply refused to enable greed, then blocked her. Extended relatives surfaced with lectures on family values, quickly dismissed. Reflecting now, the confrontation exposed raw truths. Inheritance should reflect care shown, not surnames. Grandma's foresight protected what greed threatened to squander. Dad would have sold within months, burned proceeds on schemes. Instead, this place endures as sanctuary. The moral lingers. How many families fracture when presence is traded for entitlement? What would you protect if given the chance to choose legacy over blood?